Good morning, Naturally Marilyn. Hope you guys are all having a fantastic day. We have a little bit of drizzly rain again. We've been in a little bit of rain on and off, so I'm looking forward to some sunny days, but really happy and grateful for the moisture. The plants have never looked better, I gotta say. So today's recipe is going to be homemade tacos with white corn flour tortilla shells. We'll be making all of it from scratch. The dough, I probably make my taco meat and stuff a little bit different than other people because I like a variety. So I hope you enjoy this video, and if you give it a try, let me know, or if you have some ideas, I'd be interested in giving it a shot. So we'll see you soon. Okay, and so we're back and we're ready to put together the dough for the tortillas. I like this wooden bowl. I usually use a glass or a wooden bowl. I just find that it just behaves better for me. I like to let it sit for 30 to 60 minutes because when you are mixing it up, it'll seem really dry and it's like it's not supposed to, it's going to need more water. But I find if you let it sit for that 30 to 60 minutes, it really picks itself up, and then you can knead the dough a little bit more, and it's far more pliable that way when you go to fry the actual tortillas. So as I showed in the picture, I use mesa harina. It's a white corn flour. So although it is naturally gluten-free, some people with gluten allergies do have trouble with corn. So do that at your own risk. So that's 2 cups. I thought I was prepared, but here we are. And a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. I use sea salt. I've used that for a good 30 years. But you can use whatever you like. So I just put that on there, and I'll mix that all through before I add the water. It's really light and almost, cloudy, like it's really nice. Now the yellow corn flour, when we were in Mexico and we went on a jungle tour, I talked to them about what they were cooking because they cooked a meal for us there and how to do this, and this was one of the things. And they said that they don't really use the yellow because it's a big grain and it's not a flour that they prefer to use. That usually, if you can afford it, they like to use this white corn flour, and it's pillow soft. So it's 1.5 cups of warm to hot water. I prefer it to be a little hotter. I feel like it just kind of sponges it up better. But I'll usually just start with the 1 cup and add in the extra half. So I just kind of let that come together a bit here and there. Start to mix it up. Get it incorporated. And as you can see, it's starting to take on a bit of a shaggy appearance. That's what you want to see. That's the remainder of the 1 cup. Now we're going to work on the 1/2 cup. There's about a 1/4 cup there. Gave my hands a good wash and took off some of my rings because we're going to be playing with this right shortly. Probably need an extra spoon. Starting to get hard to mix. It's all stuck together. And there's the remainder of the water. And this is where it gets fun. You got to get in there and get knee deep. Start really mixing her up, getting some of that powdery stuff off the bottom and mixed in. Start forming a bit of a dough. Now you could spray a little bit of spray on your hands from the butter or oil sprays so that it doesn't stick, but I like to get right in there. See what I'm doing? So it seems like it's got a lot of still loose stuff here, and you may think you need to add extra water, but I caution you, when you go to use this later and you've added that excess water, it almost falls off it when you're trying to form your balls and get them into the pans, and it'll be just a sticky, goopy mess. It won't be what you want. If you find for some reason it's still a bit dry, then maybe your water was a bit too hot, then by all means add a little bit more. But I'll make a dough and then I'll let it sit for the 30 to 60 minutes. So we're going to do that. I put a little bit of plastic wrap over that. And then when we come to do it again, we will knead it again just for a little bit, form the balls, and then I'll show you the two different presses. There is the 6-inch press and the 10-inch press, and they work beautifully. So we'll show you how that's done, and then you can see us make our fresh tacos following that. Stay tuned. Okay, so I'm cooking the beef right now. I like to add a little bit of leeks and spring onion or what have you, and mushrooms in there, and have that all cooked down. I also have a little bit of leftover chicken parm I made the other day, and I thought we could shred that and put that in the tacos as well. So stay tuned, we got lots more to show you. So I'm just adding the leeks and spring onions and mushrooms. If you have Spanish onion, whatever you prefer, that's all that matters. And I'll get that one cooked down. Okay, so we have all the meat cooked down with the onions, leeks, and mushrooms, and the spices are in there. So we're going to let that cool down, and we're going to go about making the white corn flour tortillas. Okay, so our dough should be good to go. I just wanted to show you. Now, cast iron pans are the ultimate best. I have trouble with the weight of them now, so I'm using these. These are rock pans, and they're not the starfrit. The starfrit is more of a coating. These are the ones that's baked in, so it works well. So they get really, really hot like a cast iron pan would. So we'll be using those ones today. This is the tortilla press. Now, the bigger one that I thought was 10-inch. I only just pulled out of the box and found it really isn't much bigger than this little one I used. So we're going to be sticking with that. So you can use wax paper. I just cut open a bag because I find it sticks even less to that and I get more use out of it. And I'll show you the dough here. Now, upon inspection, when I went to shred the chicken, turns out what I thought was leftover chicken parm is actually leftover sausage and peppers and potatoes, so that won't work. We're going to stick with the beef. Now here's the dough, and as I said, there was a lot of loose and powdery stuff that's all soaked up. You can knead that a little bit more if you want, but I'm liking how this feels. And at this point, when you break it off and taste it, it tastes like, I don't know if you ever rolled up bread into little bread balls when you were a kid, but it kind of tastes like that with a slight mashed potato flavor, and it's really good. So I've got a little one rolled up here. I just grabbed a chunk off of it, and what I try to do is get some rolled up ahead so I can, while the pan's hot, just keep going. So you don't want them to be too big. It usually takes me a few tries the first one to remember what size I need. So it may feel dry to the touch here, but once you start working with it, you'll see it's very pliable. And I think these ones are a tad too big, but we'll give one a go and see first. So you just simply take out your press. You don't need to add any kind of oil or spray or anything to do that. If you've got the recipe right, it should work out. So just place that in the middle of the press. Close the lid, and there's a little handle here, and we're going to squeeze that and push the handle down and pull it off. Oh, I guess I could have made them bigger then, apparently. So here's a nice little one, but you can see how easily that comes off of there. So that's a bit small, so we'll make the next one a bit bigger. This is a good test run. You can start heating up the pans now. So obviously you want to be careful with your bag. I don't usually work this close to the pots that I have, but I'm just trying to get it all in the shot for you to see. So we're going to roll up a little bigger one here. Put that down, close the cover, press down enough that you can get the handle locked down for a quick second, pull it apart, and there we have a beautiful tortilla. So we're going to turn the pots on and get them hot, and then we'll continue rolling and we'll show you them cooking. Okay, so we're going to give some of these a go. I've rolled up a couple ahead here. So what I just wanted to make mention as well is, as you're rolling these up, in between cooking them, I'll cover in saran or a cloth because it can start to dry out a tad. If that happens, don't be afraid to add a little bit of water by a few drops at a time to the dough. I don't know if you can hear that sizzle, but that's a good sign. Sometimes if you're not using a cast iron pan, it doesn't always brown up quite as nicely as you would see on the cast iron. Get some of these going here. Keep rolling here. And we'll do a bit of a smaller one for this other corner. And while I'm doing this, Nicole is graciously cutting up all of the taco ingredients we'd like to put on the tacos after. It always changes, depends on what you're in the mood for or what you have in the fridge, but that's where we go with that. There we go. So we'll be back in a bit to show you the other side. Okay, so here's some of the balls rolled up ahead of time, and I generally just cover that with a little bit of saran wrap and then put that aside till I'm ready to press. We'll give a shot here and see. Oh, that looks beautiful. Look at that. That's what we want to see. Now, I find sometimes we don't always get those lines, so hopefully that's showing up well on camera here. Yeah, see, this one here isn't really showing too much of it being brown, but it is cooked in a minute or two here once you flip it. I do have some containers that I keep them in, and it keeps it really hot. I'm sure you guys have all seen these over the years. Had this one for like a good 30 years or more. Really dating myself a bit. That's for the smaller ones. I want to have the full 10-inch ones. I put them in here, but I also put wax paper between each so they don't stick together. And it keeps them hot for a good half an hour, maybe longer. I would suggest if you're putting that on a table or something like that, it will get hot underneath, so you might want to put a board or something like that on it to make sure it doesn't steam your table. Okay, so we're just about done. We're on a second batch. We just have the last couple to roll here. Now, I should mention to you that once these pans really start to get smoking hot, then it's a good time to start turning them down and just have a medium-high, consistent sort of flame. So I got these turned down now because we're down to our last couple, so we don't want them just to kind of like burn up and crisp on the outside. So we just have these last few. And next you're going to see us assembling some yummy, yummy tacos.